What's good, y'all? It's your boy Vegaman, and welcome to the Vegaman News. So tonight we're going to be talking about some world events that's happening right now in the world, and I wanted to put my 2 cents into it. So with that being said, let's go on with the show. So what's good, y'all? It's your boy Vegaman, and tonight we're going to be talking about what's really been going on in the world right now, Palestine and Israel. What side am I choosing, and who is in the right, who is in the wrong? And to be quite honest, the more that I think about it, now, hold on a second here. Let me actually dumb down the music a bit. It's starting to get a little bit cheesy with the music here. Okay, so with the more of this stuff that's escalating with Israel and Palestine, one has to account the history of these two different nations. So my opinion is, I'm not taking a side. This has to do with Palestine and Israel. Not saying that I don't, love my Israelis, or I'm not saying that I don't love my Muslim brothers, but the conflict is between them. As other countries are watching, they should stay out of this conflict, to be quite honest. That is my honest opinion. Only because Israel and Palestine has been fighting each other for thousands of years, and that's the thing that most countries don't know, the history of Palestine and Israel. They've been going at war back and forth with each other since probably the beginning of time. I wouldn't say the beginning of time, but I would definitely say when Babylon was around, I believe. Israel always had conflicts with Palestine. If you trace it back in history, plus if you can trace it, you can also trace it back all the way in the Bible as well. The Bible does speak of Palestine and in Israel having conflict, even way before Moses, and even way before King David. So this is nothing new. And the mere fact that you have nations egging on, either side it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because, and if you do your history, if you go back in time in history, Palestine used to be the oppressors. Yeah, and that used to be like before King David, or even I think I would say like in the era where King Saul was, like Palestine was the oppressors. They conquered Israel, if I'm not mistaken, and they also, damn, what's wrong with my mic? And they also fuck, damn, the stupid mic is acting up on me now. They also slaughtered the innocent back in those times, you know what I'm saying? So like there is a lot of bad blood and a lot of animosity between each other. There's a history. Goliath came from the Palestine side, David came from the Israel side. Everybody knows the story of David and Goliath. So those are like real historical facts. Even though a lot of people say that the Bible's like, how does the Bible know? It's been around for thousands of years, just like as the Quran has been around probably for thousands of years, and also the Torah, which is the scriptures that the Hebrews use. There's reasons why those documents have been, and those books have been around for thousands of years, and that's because I believe that the Palestinians, they are descendants of Ishmael, which is If you guys don't know the story of Abraham, Abraham had two sons. His firstborn son was Ishmael. His second son was Isaac. Isaac was the promised child of Abraham, and those are the reasons why. Abraham, like, if you really, really, if you're like, you have to know your history in order to kind of like, think about what's going on with this whole conflict in the Middle East. Like Ishmael, out of all the descendants, they came out of Ishmael. You have what the hell? I'm trying to think here. You have Saudi Arabia came out of it, the Palestines, the Iranians, the Iraqis, any country that you see in the Middle East is from the line of Ishmael. Now, the thing is that people don't really get it is when Abraham had two sons, two religions were created from those two bloodlines. From the bloodline of Ishmael, you have your Muslims. That's where the Muslim traditions come. That's also where I believe Buddhism and Hinduism and all those other religions, they were born from the Ishmael line. You know what I'm saying? Because Ishmael, not only was he Hebrew, but he was also Egyptian. His mother was Egyptian. So those traditions followed Ishmael. You know what I'm saying? So Isaac, on the other hand, was the line where the Hebrews were, the Israelites were. They're the descendants. He was the descendants of Isaac are the Israelites. Also, Christianity was born from the tribe of Israel because Jesus was also Israeli. He's Israelite, and he was Hebrew. So Christianity was created through Christ, and that is the reason why there's like two polarized big religions. But you got your Christianity, your Christians, and then you have your Muslims. You know what I'm saying? So in hand, Muslims and like the descendants of Ishmael and the descendants of Isaac were really like, they're supposed to be brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? They're supposed to love one another. But there was always a lot of conflict. If you study your history, and it goes down, like if you go further down. So when Isaac had his two sons, which was Jacob and Esau were twin brothers, and Jacob was, God chose him and named him Israel. He gave him the name Israel. And Esau, he ended up forming a pact with like the Canaanites. I think it was the Canaanites. And the Canaanites are descendants of Ishmael, right? So if you read the Bible and you study your history, Ishmael and Isaac's descendants always cross each other's path. It's crazy, but it's fascinating, and it's facts. Like you can actually go down further, and then like when Jacob became Israel, and he ran away because he thought that his twin brother was going to kill him, and his twin brother was going to kill him because he stole the firstborn inheritance of his father, which was all the blessings and like all of the traditions and stuff like that was passed down through Abraham's time. And Isaac gave Jacob all the blessings, but it was supposed to be Esau. But Esau sold his blessings for a bowl of beans to his brother Jacob, and his mother dressed him up as Esau so that he can get the blessings. And then when Esau found out that his younger brother stole the blessings, he went out and wanted to kill him. Like he wanted to murder his twin brother. So then God sent Jacob away, and Jacob, he ended up getting 2 wives. He got married with the older wife, the older sister, and then he ended up getting Rebecca, which is the girl that he fell in love with, and that was how he was able to get the 12 sons that encompassed the tribe of Israel. There's 12 tribes within Israel, and each tribe came from one of the sons of Jacob. So Jacob had 12 sons, and then you have 12 lines of descendants that come from that. So when Jacob decided to go back to his father's land, he ran into Esau. Instead of Esau deciding to kill his brother, he decided to defend his brother. Now, at that time, Esau, obviously, he had his own sons and daughters, and they married the Ishmael line. So he decided to defend his brother while, his brother's nation grew. So, they always go in hand, Ishmael and Isaac. And it's kind of crazy because, if you really think about it and you go deeper into the these descendants and these bloodlines, when Moses, and a lot of people are trying to say that, oh, these people, they never existed in history. That's bullcrap, because you can actually, in the archives of the Egyptians and stuff like that, Moses did exist. Joseph, the son of Jacob, existed as well. So all these are historical facts. It's not just, I don't base my logic just because the Bible said so. I'm a history nerd, so I like to study history. And I base my facts on those things. So Moses, when Moses was Prince of Egypt, and then, hold on a second, let me put some light music on here. Okay, so when Moses was Prince of Egypt at one time. Okay, so I'm quite sure everybody knows what the story of Moses is. His mother had him, and then the Pharaoh made a decree where all firstborns of Israel, all firstborns of Israel were to be slaughtered, right? So his mother put him in a basket, and then she put him down the Nile River, and then the princess of Egypt found him and raised him as her own, because she couldn't have kids. So Moses, he became a prince of Egypt until he found out his true heritage. So when he found out his true heritage, he decided not to follow the traditions of Egypt anymore. So he wanted to learn about his people. And at that time, Israel was in bondage. They were in captivity. You know what I'm saying? So they were slaves to Egypt. So they were promised, if you read the Torah does say that there was supposed to be a chosen one. At that time it would be like a Messiah. It wouldn't be a Messiah. It was more like a chosen one, right? Like someone that's going to deliver them from captivity. And obviously there was a reason why Moses became a general. He became a prince of Egypt. So he pretty much knows how to be a general of people, because he used to go to wars. He conquered Ethiopia. There's a lot of things that Moses did before he became the prophet that that the Bible talks about. He did a lot of things. Then after he went against the Pharaoh imprisoned him and everything. And then he let him go, and he sent him out into the wilderness, which he sent him out into the desert. And Moses, I believe that it says that Moses probably wandered. I don't know if it said that he wandered 40 days or 40 nights, or how many days he wandered in the wilderness or in the desert. But he ended up finding this oasis, and then within this oasis they had Jethro, which is one of Ishmael's descendants. he had a tent, and I believe he had 7 daughters, and Moses married one of the daughters and also had a son from her and everything else like that. But to be interesting, what I'm trying to say is the fact that God's people, or Israel, always crossed with Ishmael's bloodline, which is fascinating, because Jethro, which was the one that helped Moses, he was a descendant of Ishmael. You know what I'm saying? So he also knew about the he knew about the Almighty God, that the descendants of Jacob, because Ishmael's bloodline, they come from they're from the Ishmael is the son of Abraham. So whatever Abraham taught, Ishmael, he carried that. So I'm not sure exactly where it changed, like where the traditions changed within the descendants of Ishmael, but it became a little bit more aggressive towards the descendants of Isaac. And that's the thing, as an outsider, you know what I'm saying, because I'm neither Israelite or I'm not Palestinian or Muslim or anything like that. But as I dive in more deeper into like the history of these nations, it's fascinating because Israel, Palestine, Iran, Iraq, I do believe that Iran and Iraq are oh, okay, no doubt, I hear you. Iran and Iraq and Turkey and like all these other countries in the Middle East are remnants of the four major kingdoms that the Bible talks about. So like if you read the Bible, right, and it's not just the Bible, because the Bible talks about it, but it's also in history of these prior kingdoms that used to exist. There in the scriptures in the Bible, there is a story about Babylon, right? So Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and in the dream he said that there was a humongous statue, and each statue had different minerals representing different kingdoms. So the prophet Daniel was the one that interpreted the dream to the king, because God gave the interpretation to Daniel to interpret that dream, what it meant. So in the dream, the king he said he saw a giant statue. The head was made out of gold. The body was made out of silver. The waist was made out of bronze, and then the legs were made out of iron. And in the bottom of the statue, the feet was mixed with iron and clay, right? So God gave the interpretation to Daniel, and Daniel told the king what the dream meant. So he said that the head of the statue represents Babylon, because in that time, Babylon was gold. You know what I'm saying? And if you do your history and you do the history of Babylon, that's what the kingdom was all. It was like a marvelous kingdom. Everything was made out of gold in Babylon. So Babylon represented gold. The next kingdom that came after Babylon, I believe it was the Persians. Okay, so the Persians came in, and they were the next kingdom. And then after the Persians, I believe it was the Greeks. And then after the Greeks came the Romans. So the Romans were the last kingdom that Israel will be going through. So Israel went through four different times where they were conquered and they were turned into slaves, because that's how you got to look at that's why when I hear people talk about slavery, and I don't want to hear it, because we were I do believe every race has been enslaved, but nobody has been enslaved more than Israel. in my opinion. And no race has been more. These countries or these nations try to do genocide against Israel multiple times. It wasn't just, here and there. Like, Babylon almost exterminated the Israelites when they conquered them first. Okay. And then after that, the Persians almost, because there's history, like the history of Ruth. If you study the story of Ruth was she married the Persian king, and she allowed the king to make a law to preserve the remnants of Israel, because these other people that were in power wanted to exterminate the Hebrews, and God used Ruth to save the remnant. So and then you have the Greeks also tried to eliminate the Jews, and then the Romans. Obviously everybody knows about Rome. Rome conquered Israel and subjugated Israel. You know what I'm saying? Israel was pretty much a slave to the Roman Empire. So the history, and that's what I say that, when people tell me, it's like, oh, how do you know that the Bible is true? Because the Bible is the only, I believe the Bible, the Torah, and even the Quran, they all take, if you put it all together, they all account to a part of history that people don't know about. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when people talk about, it's like, oh, we side with Palestine or we side with Israel. And to be quite honest, they've been at war for thousands of years. This is the reason why people don't understand the culture, their traditions and stuff like that, because they've been at war for such a long time. It used to be that Palestine used to be a very superpower back in the day. Like, back in the ancient times, Palestine was a very powerful country. You know what I'm saying? But the descendants of Israel became stronger, so they overpowered Palestine. Now, Palestine is the weaker nation, and Israel is the stronger nation. And that always is when it comes to conflicts with different countries, you know what I'm saying, with different nations. If I had to put my finger, Israel is the oldest, and Palestine, the descendants of Palestinians, they're the oldest nation, I believe, on this earth, besides Egypt, because Egypt also was around on that time too of Abraham, because if it wasn't for the handmaiden of Sarah that came from Egypt, the line of Ishmael never would have been created. So Egypt also existed in the beginning times as well. So there's a reason. There's a reason why there's a lot of bad blood, a lot of animosity. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? They look at it as like, oh, they're just killing innocent people and this and that, whatever. But you got to understand the history of these two nations. There has been so much bad blood and so much innocent blood being shed that the next generation incurs the anger of the previous generation. You see what I'm saying? So it's that's how it is over there, and that's the thing that people don't understand. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the best thing for me and for anybody that sees this stuff is just to don't even get yourself involved, because you know what I'm saying, they're not trying to hear it. You know what I'm saying? If you side, like, there's no talking them out. You know what I mean? Like, you can, if you have people that have, like, if there's people that can actually forgive. And that's the thing, though, you know what I'm saying, when, like, you have innocent people being murdered and killed and this and that, whatever, forgiveness is very hard to be given. And that's the thing. I truly believe that's one of the problems that we have nowadays. Forgiveness is hard to give, and that's what we're seeing right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're seeing a lot of that happening right now. So, like, I'm gonna show you something real quick. Okay, so if I go to okay, so right now you see my YouTube, whatever, right? So if I go to Twitter, right, this is the Twitter, and then you have people here, like a bunch of people here egging on, like picking a side. Oh, we're gonna pick Israel, or we're gonna pick Hamas, and this and that, whatever. We as people, we need to kind of like mind our business. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why people always want to go into wars that has nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? Because like this fight is between them. They've been in war with each other for a long time. They know each other pretty well. You know what I'm saying? So like there's no sense of us trying to figure out why they are the way they are against each other. It's been happening for thousands of years. This is a war that nobody's going to really understand. You know what I'm saying? Only the ones that are fighting are the ones that understand this war. So that's just my input on the whole thing. I'm not choosing a side. You know what I'm saying? What I really don't like to see is people trying to flame the fires. And you have like these organizations like Black Lives Matter and Antifa siding with the with the Hamas. That all you're doing is stirring the hate even more, and you're not really accomplishing anything. You know what I'm saying? It's sad to see innocent people being killed and murdered. I don't condone that, especially innocent children and and women. It's wrong. Like, it's wrong to see things like that. But again, these bloodsheds from each side has been around for thousands of years. Okay, it used to be Palestine used to do that to Israel all the time, when they were the superpower. That's why, like, if you look at your history, you have the story of David and Goliath. That came from that. You know what I'm saying? At that time, David, actually it was King Saul at that time that was actually king of Israel, and he didn't go by what God told him to do. So then God allowed the other nations around him to rise up against him. So Palestine was one of the main nations that actually went to war with Israel a lot. And King Saul got killed by Palestine. His son got killed by Palestine. And then King David was crowned as the new king of Israel at that time. And then, like, I believe David, he completely obliterated Palestine. So then, like, the kingdom of Palestine was around, like, even at the times of Samson. Samson was supposed to be a judge, executioner, and jury against Palestine, but instead of Samson doing his job, he was a womanizer, and he loved to have, women, and he loved Palestine women until he met a Palestine woman called Delilah, and she cut his hair, and obviously everybody knows the story about that. He got blinded, but in he, for him to kind of like redeemed himself, he asked God for forgiveness, and then God gave him his strength, and then he was able to wipe out the I believe it was the royal family of Palestine at that time. He completely collapsed the temple. The temple killed all the Palestine royal family, including Delilah, and that's how the story ended. You know what I'm saying? So Palestine has been around for a long time. I believe, all this bloodshed and like all this bad blood has been going around for generations, and between these two nations. So it's not something new. Everybody thinks like, oh, this is, something new. No, it's not. Like, I do believe that everything that's new, it's old. It's like history always repeating itself. And that's the thing. It's just like, I believe it started, like, the animosity started between Ishmael and Isaac ever since they were boys. I believe I would think it was Ishmael's mom that stirred the jealousy of Isaac, because, like, she wanted the firstborn rights of Abraham, and Ishmael was not supposed to be born. He was supposed to, Isaac was supposed to be born, not Ishmael, and God chose Isaac as the chosen child. And so Abraham drove out Ishmael from the tribe, and that's the reason why the whole tribe of Ishmael exists, is because of that. So it's very deep in history. I love history, man. I'm a history nerd. So like, if you don't believe what I'm saying, definitely do your own research about it. So it's really nothing new, you know. So yeah, so I like watching my boy Lou here. He's funny. So definitely check him out. He's doing a lot of great things as far as like putting out information. So definitely go to his YouTube channel. Like right now he's live. Make sure to hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just coming in. Yeah, so he's doing a live while I'm doing a live. So yeah, I love Lou, you know what I'm saying? He's really doing good work. So definitely join his channel if you guys are really into what's really going on, into the current events of what's going on, into what's happening with all these conflicts. He's definitely a really good person to get source from. He's out there and he goes out and reaches out to people. So definitely definitely subscribe to his channel and support him. I'm probably going to jump into his live stream. So if you guys do subscribe to it, I'm probably going to go into his live stream, and I'm also going to jump up in one of his panels, because he likes to do these panels where he'll have a bunch of people talking. And I think I went into one of his episodes where I was in there and I was giving him my input about how I feel about stuff. So I'm probably going to do that. And I highly recommend y'all following him, because he is doing some really good research when it comes to current events. If anybody really cares about current events, I don't believe in all this conflict. Definitely I'm a little bit afraid about World War III. I mean, how the things are escalating to a point that it's going to get crazy. I don't think anybody wants to kind of deal with that, you know what I'm saying? So keep yourselves educated. Definitely don't fall for the news. The news sometimes exaggerate everything and they lie about stuff, so you gotta definitely not, don't be getting your sources from the news. There is other alternative outlets out there that you guys can go and do your research before you guys can come out with a judgment. Education is power, like that, like how they always say knowledge is power. So for me, I don't ever jump into conclusions and stuff like that. It's like, and a lot of people freak out, you know what I'm saying, and they don't really kind of like educate themselves first before they even jump into conclusions. A lot of people just jump into conclusions and they never do the research. So I believe in doing your research first, educating yourself first. If you have to pray about it, you know what I'm saying? Because if things escalate the way they're escalating right now, that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. We really do not want the world to implode. Like right now, Donald Trump is talking, you know what I'm saying? So I can go on and on and on, but if you guys really like this type of content, you know what I'm saying, you really want me to dive into world events and stuff like that, let me know in the comments down below. Hit me up. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree what I say? Do you don't agree what I say? That's fine. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinions. I mean, I just feel like, for me, I just want to educate the masses. You know what I'm saying? It is not just an opinion that I go based by. I base my opinions by facts, and I always look at what's really going on in the world. I just don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not just going to sit here and just talk out my ass and not know what I'm talking about. I've been studying the scriptures, I am a Christian, and I've been a Christian ever since the age of 7. I'm 43 years old now, so that I can tell you, you can do the math, how long I've been a Christian for and how long I have been studying the scriptures for. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. Not only that I studied the scriptures for such a long time, but I also, I also study history as well. You know what I'm saying? And history and, all that goes hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? You don't get knowledge without your history. So, there is so many things, so many outlets. Stop getting your news from the TV, because the majority of it, I would say about 90% of it is propaganda, and about 10% is truth. And that is one thing right now that the society and the world is suffering right now, is because lack of truth. You know what I'm saying? So you got people like me that are willing to speak about that, and you have also people like Lou Valentino that's willing to go out and get that information to put it out to the masses. And I support this guy, man. He's a young buck. He's, you know what I'm saying, that he's trying to do some good things. So I'm gonna follow him, and I'm hopefully, man, hopefully I will jump into his stream today, and you guys can check it out for yourselves. But with that said, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it here, y'all. Rambling. So if you guys really want to follow me, make sure you follow me on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, the Vegaman Show. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. We're trying to get that 5K level. I want to be in Lou's level right now, because he's getting up there with the subscriptions, and I definitely want to talk about this. This is a passion of mine. I love my country, but I also love God, and I want to kind of put out this positive energy, because this world really needs it. So if you guys want to support the channel, make sure you guys cop the merch stuff that I got on the merch store. Definitely hit the likes, share as much as possible, so that we can get into the algorithm of YouTube. They always try to suppress everything. So with that being said, thanks for coming in. Barry, thank you for coming in. I love you guys, man. I'm out. Peace.